Welcome to Community Cafe, where strangers become new friends. New friends become old friends, and old friends become family. Please join our table or take a seat at the counter. We're glad you came. Welcome back, folks. This is Society Bites Radio, and I am your host, Katie O'Neill. We have our guest, Patti Pelton, in the studio with us again, and we are so grateful to have her come back for a Part 2 interview. Patti, welcome to the show again, and thanks so much for giving us your time.
Again, thank you. It's great to be here.
Now, for those of you who missed the first episode, you can always go back to Community Cafe and listen to Part 1. But what most people don't know is not only did Patti play in a league of our own, she was also responsible for brand acknowledgement with Mission Impossible. She had a part to play in CSI New York and Venice the series, and she's a producer. She's an entrepreneur. She's an amazing woman.
Thank you.
Patti, tell us what all you've done.
Well, I did a little bit of stunt work after I did some of my own stunts for the baseball, and I thought, well, maybe I could hang out with some guys and try to maybe do some stunts. So I kicked around with the guys for a while, and Dave Leach and some of the guys at their school, and then did a few shows and got into stunts a little bit there, and did fight choreography and sword fighting, and then realized that you can really get injured doing this, and then maybe I should move on to something else.
You're
even
a
though
much
I loved
braver
it.
woman than me.
I loved it, and I got to do some shows and and take some falls and do some fight stuff with Natasha Henstridge and get beat up by her and a lot of people. But then I started. Somebody came to me and said, "Look, you're producing your own stuff, your own short, and your own plays, and you've produced some of your own stuff. Why don't there's an interview over at CSI New York. They're looking for someone to do product placement for the TV show." And I really didn't know anything about it, but they knew I knew, because I really thought, well, I just know how to get things for free, and I'm really, able to talk to people, and they said, well, that's what the job is. And so I ended up meeting with the creator. I got to the second interview and met with the creator, and I said, I've never done product placement. And he said, well, it's not going to be as exciting as stunts and acting. I said, yes, it is, because I have no idea what I'm doing. And he said, well, let's hire you. So that's how I got CSI New York. But I did know more than I thought I did. But the reality, so I started working there, and it was really just kind of figuring out how the job worked. And I had an amazing producer, Vicki Williams, who had an open door policy and was one of the best producers I've ever worked with. And she'd done... She had a role in a lot of, she'd done a lot of different things, so she understood everybody's problems and what they were up against. And so it kind of was create your own job, and that's what I did. And my job was to help build the sets, the labs and the forensic machines, and reach out to forensic people. And I talked to a lot of inventors, and it was fascinating, and finding out, I would present different things to them as an idea to use in the show, or they'd script it and I would pursue it, and I would get it for free, basically, and let everybody know how the machine works. So video playback knew how to use it, and how props knew how to use it, and we would get techs in for free that would come in and teach the actors how to use whatever it was they were using. So it's product placement is not just putting, everybody's like, oh, you put a water on a table, and I go, well, no, that's part of it, and I don't put it there, the props people do, but it's props and set decorators are so overwhelmed with what they have to do. They had me on board so that I could get this product placement, get it shipped on time. You're doing a movie a week when you're doing CSI New York, and you have to get everything there on time on a certain date because the schedule doesn't change. And use the product, and also make sure that the people that you're getting the product from, it's being used correctly. You have to you have legal things you have to adhere to as well. And then standards and practices, who watch what you're doing and make notes on, whether you're using more than one bottle of water. There are various bottles of water, so, you have to adhere to that as well. So an example would have been, we had this one machine that cut out cancer cells, dropped them into a petri dish, and then it would be sent off to the lab. There was only one available, and the guy drove in from San Diego, set it up. Hill Harper learned how to use it quickly, cut the cancer cells on camera, dropped it in the petri dish, and then the guy, when they went on to the next scene, he dismantled it and took off. And so I had a 3-hour window to get this thing, make it happen, and then it was gone. So it was kind of stuff like that. That's how I started out.
That's amazing. So when you have a company, let's just say Coca-Cola or Pepsi or Nestle, and they have a product that they've paid for to be in this movie, how difficult is it to get the name actually in?
Well, there's a difference. There's product integration. There's product placement. Product integration is more of what I was around when I was at Paramount Studios. I was director of brand integration, and I was still doing product placement. But the integration is different. They pay for it, and then there's a deal. We'll do it X amount of times. So and so is going to hold it. They adhere to a contract, and that's product integration. And it's targeted, and marketing does that most of the time. What I was doing was, and I have done some of those deals on different independent things, but what I was doing was getting a product from a company, and there's never a guarantee that they're going to see that. This is like, look, we're going to try, and we're going to do our best, and can we use this, and hopefully we'll get seen, and it'll be on camera, and if not, we took a chance, and if you're willing to do that, and and we'll make sure it's returned in the condition it came. You're dealing with medical equipment and forensic machines, and what I find most of the time, especially in the medical and forensic world and robotics world, they just love to be part of it.
Now, those
it's
are
enjoyable
real machines
for them.
that are used. These aren't props.
No,
These
I've
are
done
real
robotics.
machines.
I've done robots coming to set for the day. Then they're gone back to wherever they came from. On Extent, which was a sci-fi show. Medical equipment. I did New Amsterdam for NBC, and that's a lot of that medical equipment is real.
That was going to be my next question, because a little bird told me that you also handle things for The Price is Right.
Well, no, I actually did Let's Make a Deal.
Let's Make a Deal.
I
okay, my bad.
I didn't do the product placement on that. I actually was asked if I was interested in writing copyright for the show, which I've never done. And as I always do in all my interviews, maybe it's the best way to go. I don't know. I said, you know what? I don't know how to do that, but I'll give it a go. Sure, let's do it.
I think working with Drew Carey could be a lot of fun.
And so actually it was Let's Make a Deal. That was
that's right, with Monty Hall and the gentleman, I can't remember his name now.
Wayne Brady.
Yes,
Wayne Brady.
Thank you.
And they said, do you want to do the copyright for the show? And I said, yeah, let's do that. And so I had to learn on the go. I mean, I literally was thrown into it, learned the software. I had to write the copyright for the show. I had no idea what I was doing. I had a quick lesson, and they were lovely. I mean, they had my back and stuff. But, yeah, it was a constant. Like, they'd call me from the booth and say, you have to make a change right now because we're going break, but we're coming back from commercial. We need to change. You need to rewrite quickly. So it was really interesting.
Now,
it's always good.
What does it take to get on the show?
What? Let's Make a Deal? You just have to apply, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know that part of it. But yeah, you just have to. I think it's easy to get on. I think you just have to try to
I would
sign
think wearing
up for
a
it.
costume and acting crazy would help.
Exactly. You sign up for it, and So, that was interesting.
Well, working with Brady had to be a lot of fun.
Oh, he's fantastic. He's really funny, and they're all really nice, really sweet.
Oh yeah,
Tiffany,
first time I ever saw him
Tiffany.
was Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Ryan Stiles was one of my improv coaches. I did improv, studied improv under Ryan. I used to do improv back in the day. Oh my gosh, he's the best. I mean, the best advice he ever gave me is he's like, Patty, don't try to be funny. He goes, they're going to listen no matter what you're doing. If they're curious, so they're going to be listening. But you don't have to be funny when you go up there. Just play the scene. And so that was great advice.
That is great advice.
Yeah.
At least you get to be yourself.
Yes, exactly.
And that's what I think that's what made that show so much fun, was because people were themselves.
On which show? The
Whose Line Is
Oh
It
yeah,
Anyway?
for sure. Yeah. Those guys are brilliant. I mean, all of those guys. A couple of those guys were at Upfront Comedy back in the day, and that who was there was Lisa Kudrow was there and Molly Shannon doing their stuff, and we were all doing improv there, and started out there doing improv. So, but yeah, a lot of people came out of there.
Thing to do, though.
It's very difficult improv, but if you're doing it right, it's fun. I can't say that was it's helped me on a lot of auditions, and I actually had to improvise during a whole movie once, and I didn't know I was supposed to do this, but I had to improv all my scenes, and that was fun. But yeah, it's difficult. It's not, some of my friends are amazing at it, so.
I'm not that quick-witted. I would have to think before I spoke, and I have trouble with that as it is.
Yeah.
Well, what's on the horizon for you?
More product placement. I just worked on a Netflix Shonda Rhimes project that was shooting in New York, and I got asked to do another thing for New Amsterdam. I'm writing also my own stuff right now. I just am writing and performing stories on stage and putting together a one-woman show, because I've always wanted to do that, but I'm terrified. So it's taking me this long to get around to doing it, but I'm doing it, and that's the important thing. And then I might be working on a project that is about the China Wild Ball tournament, and then also the World Street Ball tournament that's here in the United States. And I'm going to be doing possibly some product integration on that, which I'm really excited about, because it's going to be some basketball stars in it, and they're looking for product integration, companies to come on board. It's going to be shot in China, and it's also going to be shot here in the United States. So that's coming up this summer. So
will you actually have to go to China?
I don't know. I'm kind of just talking to them about it. So I don't know. I don't know a lot about it yet. We're just kind of talking and getting into it, so we'll see. But either way, it should be a very fascinating story, because there's a lot of diversity in it, and a lot of heart. So it's a good script.
Well, I know we talked a lot about baseball in our first interview with you. Now, you've mentioned street ball. For our listeners who don't know what that is, explain to us what street ball means.
Well, it's people who aren't professionals, but they're amazing basketball players, and it's a really big deal in the United States, these street ball tournaments. Again, I'm still trying to get into that world a little bit more, but I didn't know this existed until somebody brought it to me. But it's huge in China, and they've adapted. They love basketball, and so it's a big deal there. And we'll be getting more into this, but I guess they have it in Vegas every year, and it's supposed to be an amazing tournament. And so it's it's like it's people who are playing in the street and learn on the courts and are amazing basketball players that maybe not playing professionally, but people go see it. It's huge. And I played basketball in high school. I guess I played a little street ball to start out, but nothing like this. This is crazy. So
I could never make the hoop, so
yeah.
I was always too short. So with all your talents that you have, how do you keep everything straight? How do you keep it all organized?
Well, I'm an Aries. That helps. I think I don't know. I guess I compartmentalize it when it's happening, and I just go to the next thing and then compartmentalize it. But I'm kind of a life eater, so I have fear of missing out, I guess you could say. So I'll go wherever there's something happening.
Yeah, I could appreciate that. I was always the kid that wouldn't go to bed.
Yeah.
I wanted to stay up and hear what they were saying.
You're curious.
I was.
The curiosity is an amazing... Yeah, you stay curious, I always say, because that keeps you going. So
out of all the projects you've done, what do you think was your favorite?
I guess League was just such a big part of my life. It's like an extension of you, I think for all of us. But I think also when I produced a play about Ireland, and a play that took place in Belfast, and it was a dream of mine to do an Irish play and do an Irish accent and just kind of be, involved, kind of embrace that culture and the troubles at the time. It was when I did this. There were still troubles and going on in Ireland, and I got together with my best friend, and we finally got to work together, and we